Okay, here we go. Well, here we go with the next module here in the buyer course for realtors. So in this video, I'm going to talk about first contact. And this is something that I feel is not really covered very well in a lot of the real estate agent training, realtor training that I've been involved in, that I've seen, is what do you do when you get that first contact from a buyer? Telephone call, email, what do you do? When you get a walk-in, like you're working the floor, that's pretty straightforward because you're going to meet with them in your office because you're already there. So what I want to be able to talk about is what do you do when you get the phone call or somebody emails you and they want to work with you, they've been referred to you, they saw a for sale sign with your name on it, they saw a video. This is not a marketing, discussion here. However they come to you, what are you going to do? And this is going to define your entire relationship with your buyer when you first make contact with them. Okay, so let's go to the screen share and see if I can find it here. Get some cooperation from the backstage crew. And here we go. And familiar logo. And see if we can do that again. Okay, buyer course for realtors. Okay, first contact. And reminds me of the great movie, the Carl Sagan movie, Contact. And Jodie Foster, I like that movie, was mid to late 1990s. Okay, so what do you do? What do you do when you get that first contact? It's so important to take time to go through this. What you want to do is, if it's a phone call or an email and they're local, you want to schedule a face-to-face meeting in your office. If they're out of town, you want to schedule a telephone appointment. Now, if they call you from out of town and they've been referred to you or they're interested as a result of something they saw on the internet and they want you to be their realtor, if you have time right then and there to do a 20, 30-minute call, go ahead and do it then. If not, schedule a phone appointment. Now, one thing that I've heard, and I've heard this from some agents and some training, is whenever somebody calls, especially if they're local, get them in your car and go out and look at properties. Or if they call, just meet them at the property. I mean, that is terrible advice. Two issues here. Number one, most important, safety, your security, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Number two, this is it is a sales consulting relationship that we're going to have with our buyers. So we have to set the stage up front. And this is the best way to do it, is to schedule a meeting. So here's the benefits of scheduling a meeting. You're going to establish your authority as their realtor. You're in charge to a certain degree, right? But you're the one who is it's your home court, right? You want to kind of dictate how things are going to start. You want to have respect. This is, to me, one of the most important parts of why I've been very successful as a realtor, is because I get respect from my customers. I demand their respect. I earn their respect, but I always want to be in a relationship where they respect me for what I do because I am a professional. Okay, I've already touched on that earlier in one of the videos, being a professional. Meeting with your buyers, you can set expectations. You learn what is important to them. You can qualify them, their financial situation, where do they want to buy, where do they live, all that kind of stuff, right? So we qualify them by having a meeting, and then we can determine if they're really, a serious buyer. And then safety and security, good, I've got that there. for you primarily, right? And there's been a lot of horror stories the last few years with realtors who have, been killed as a result of what we do by showing houses. So we have to be very, very sensitive and protective of strangers. And then it's a relationship business. The best way for us to get somebody to like us, trust us, see our expertise is to do it in person. Now, I've talked about the power of the video, right? The power of the video here. I'm communicating to you. It's so much more effective than just you reading a blog page or reading a book or just looking at slides and not seeing my face. I'd like to be able to have that interaction so you can kind of see me and we can develop the relationship. And then the power, like I said, when you're meeting with somebody face to face, that's the best way for you to be able to build your relationship. Okay, see if we can go to the next slide here. Now, push back to set meeting. Pushback selling, quid pro quo. The buyers, they want to see homes. You have leverage. This is where you have the most leverage on the front end. So quid pro quo. They want you to do something, then you ask them to do something. Sure, I'd be happy to show you some homes. More than happy to show you the area. But before we do that, let's schedule a quick meeting at my office. And if you're really busy, we could schedule the meeting, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, and then at 10:30, we can go out and look at homes. But it's better for me to be able to meet in our office. And this is what I say in a later slide, you blame it on office policy. This is just the way our office policy is. Before we take out any buyers, we need to meet them in person just to be able to go through a few details, and then we can go out and look at some properties. Be a professional about this. Don't be snippy. Don't be snide. Don't say, well, you have to do it this way, If you want to see houses, you got to come here. No, push back in a professional manner, and then that way you're going to get their respect. I mean, if you're going to hire a lawyer, what is the first thing that they do? You sit down at their office and you explain the situation to them. You just don't take them into the courtroom, right? And it's the same thing here. You have a doctor, you have something going on. You do the diagnosis before the treatment, before the surgery, before whatever it is. And it's the same thing for us as real estate agents. And I'm just so passionate about this subject because once you start doing this, you're, what I call being locked in with your buyers. Your lock-in rate with your buyers is going to go up because they're going to see you as a professional. They're going to want to work with you, and then you're going to develop that relationship. The next video, we're going to talk about the needs analysis meeting. So when you sit down with them that first time, 30, 40, 1 hour, that's when you're really going to build the relationship with them. Now, email leads, same thing. If they are local, your goal is to schedule a meeting. Do not qualify or ask questions in an email. I see a lot of agents, what they'll try to do in an email, they start trying to qualify them in an email. They start trying to do the needs analysis through the email. And the email is so impersonal. You're not building that relationship. You got to get them into your office. And if you can't get them into the office, meet at a coffee shop, right? You got to have that meeting, okay, to build that relationship. Don't try to qualify people through an email. Well, what's your budget? What are you looking for? Are you been pre-approved? Let me know. We can go out and look at houses on Sunday. No, no, no. Don't do that. Don't go into any qualifying in the email. Just schedule a time. Sure, I'm happy to help you. I'd love to show you some homes. If they were referred by somebody, oh yeah, I know Bob Sacamano. I helped him last year. I'd be happy to help you. Let's schedule a time that's convenient for you and whoever else needs to be involved, and we can meet in my office. And we can meet in the evening. We can meet, during the day, whatever works for you. But close on meeting them, okay? Schedule a face-to-face and or schedule a phone appointment if they're out of state, okay? Now, if they're out of state and you could schedule a time on the phone to talk to them, or you could do Skype, or a lot of times, meeting people from out of state, we can do some of the email, and then we do a phone call, and then they come to my office, we do another kind of needs analysis, and then we go out and look at properties. Okay, kind of went into that here, phone call leads. If they're local, schedule face-to-face. Out of state, you can either do a lengthy call right then and there if you both have time, or you schedule a phone appointment at a later date. Your goal is you want to have that needs analysis phone call. So when I'm going to go through the needs analysis meeting that you're going to have face-to-face, you have that same discussion with them on a telephone. And if you're like my daughters and you would want to do it on FaceTime, do it on FaceTime. That way you could talk. Or you want to do it on Skype, do it on Skype. And then that way you've got the video. And it's a great way to help build the relationship. It might sound silly. Yeah, I don't want to be on video. I don't like video. Well, get over that. I'm on video. A lot of other people on video. It's the wave of the future right now. And if it's going to help your business, how much does it cost to be on Skype? Huh? Hello? Nothing. It's free, right? Okay. Okay. All right. Now, let's talk about another subset of people where you have people locally and all they want to do, they just want to look at houses. They look at you as a door opener. They look at you as a tour guide. They don't look at you as a professional realtor. They don't want to meet in your office. They don't want to meet at a coffee shop. Don't give in, okay? Be a professional. Hold your ground. Now, if you do this and they don't want to meet with you, they don't want to meet in a coffee shop, a lot of times they're not that qualified. I remember years ago when I was in high tech, you might have heard me talk about this story before. I worked for a software company, and we sold development tools to the software developers, okay? And we had free evaluations. And when I first started, the agents, customer call, hey, Mario, I'd like to get a free evaluation on your product. And I'd say, sure, boom, and I'd send it out to them. And that was it. I might have got their name if I was lucky, might have got their email, whatever. And, after doing this for like 7, 8 months, a year, we were sending out all these free evaluations. And what would happen is after we sent it out and we tried to follow up with the people, and I call up and say, hey, Bob, I had to leave voicemail. I had to leave email. I could never get them on the phone. So because they had what they wanted. They had the free evaluation. We didn't have any security on it, which was, our company problem. So one day I remember I came up with the idea, what I'll do is if they want a free evaluation, I'll create this form. So I had created this big form and an email, 5, 6 questions to get profile information, the name of the developer, the name of the development group, the project, who is the manager, how many on the team, basically all the profile data. So what happened is I would say, they would call and say, Mario, I want a free evaluation. Sure. But before I can do that, I've got this software evaluation form. I'd like you to fill it out. I'll email it to you. You fill it out, send it back to me, and I'll get you the evaluation. Quid pro quo, right? I was pushing back. Now, what I found is that when I did push back to certain people and asked them to fill out a form, A lot of them said, no, I won't do that. How can you make me do that? Blah, blah, blah. They make a big to-do and throw up their arms and, I can't believe this. But you know what? The reason they did that, it was all, fluff and, distraction because they weren't qualified. They didn't have a project. They didn't have funding. They were not serious buyers, right? Same thing here on this slide here, okay? Don't give in, safety and security, blame it on office policy. And if they're not going to agree to do it this way, then they're not qualified. And don't feel bad about it, okay? Blame it on office policy. You can meet at your office for the first 15, 20 minutes. Then you could go out to view homes, meet at a coffee shop first. You want to be able to get their information, their name, their address, their phone number, etc. Okay, now this is something where safety tips, okay? Now, I'm not a safety expert. I'm not in law enforcement. So, I'm trying to just give you some ideas. The most important thing that you could do is take a safety class for realtors. Check with your local title company, check with your local board, realtor association, check with some of the lenders that you work with, find out who is offering safety classes for realtors. And you can get CE credit for that, 2 hours, 4 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is, continuing education. And then that would be something that would be so beneficial to you because I don't want to see you pushed around and I don't want to see you be in a situation where you're vulnerable and your safety is at risk. So take a safety class. And here are some of the tips that I can offer to you. Have a buddy system with other agents in your office. If you've got a stranger, you feel stranger danger, you're going to meet somebody, whatever, you're holding an open house, have 1 or 2 other agents be with you. If you're hosting an open house and you're a woman, you feel unsafe. I mean, sometimes I do as a man, it doesn't matter. Have a lender be with you at the open house. That way you've got a little bit more security in numbers. Meet at your office or a public place first. Have the stranger buyer fill out a profile form, just like I was doing with the software evaluation. Don't ever take stranger buyers in your car without you knowing them. If you're going to meet them at the property, be there with somebody else. Have your phone ready, program with 911. Do it during the day. Don't do it at night because you do it at night, people don't know, can't see what's going on, right? So don't ever put strangers in your car. Luckily, my business over the years, I'd say, 70% has been referrals. But I get a lot of people that meet me through the internet, through my videos and through my webpage. And then I develop that relationship with them first on the phone, face-to-face, email, and then that way I don't feel, at risk when I'm going out with them the first time. Let others know that you're at a showing. So if you're going out to a showing and you're going to meet somebody, let your significant other, your office manager, your managing broker, have another agent swing by. If you know somebody in law enforcement, call up the police person and just say, hey, I'm going to be at this house. Feel free to swing by anytime you want. Okay. Be strong. You are a professional. Don't let people push you around. You need to show your buyers you are strong. They're going to respect you. If you can't negotiate and develop a relationship with your buyer on the front end, how are you going to be able to negotiate a contract for them? How are you going to be able to help get their offer accepted when it's competitive? How are you going to be able to work with a strong listing agent, right? You don't want to be somebody that's just a walkover. You got to be strong. And then, like I said, if you need to do the meetings, blame it on office policy. When I did that software evaluation form in my high-tech days, I just blamed it on office policy, even though I was the one that created it. And then within like 3 to 6 months, everybody in the company was using my form. Safety first, okay? So important. And this is one of the things that I feel that I hear, get them in the car as soon as you can, go look at the property. That just doesn't work, okay? You're going to lose leads, like I talked about. When you push back, if they're not qualified, they don't want to do the meeting, that's okay. Then they were not serious buyers. Don't ever give in. You might get slow, and then people want to meet you at properties without doing the meeting first. Don't do it. I have a podcast that I did with Mike Kim. Don't flub your first impression. Go back, re-listen to that podcast episode with Mike Kim. And Mike talks about how 2 realtor stories, and let me go here. And Mike talks about 2 realtor stories, right? The first realtor just met him at the property. They did no meeting. They established no relationship. There was no respect. The guy just came and opened the door, look at the property. That was it, right? Mike and his wife, they felt no allegiance to this realtor, and they didn't feel comfortable, and it just wasn't a good fit. So then they searched out another realtor, and this other realtor was a true professional. And when Mike contacted him, he said, okay, well, let's meet in my office. And then Mike said, well, I'm kind of busy. I've got things going on. Can we meet in my office? And this realtor said, fine, I'd be happy to. So he went to Mike's office, and they had like a 30, 40-minute meeting doing what we're going to talk about in the next video, the needs analysis meeting, right? So important. And I know from my experience over the years, helping all the buyers that I've helped, I always do this. I always will meet them face-to-face in my office. I'll do it in the evening, during the week. I'll do it on the weekend. If they're coming from out of state, I'll do an hour phone call, and we'll go through everything on the phone. And by going through that hour phone call and establishing my credibility, my authority as a realtor, the relationship is built. And then they're locked in with me. Remember, buyers, they want to work with you. They want you to be their realtor. They don't want to spend, 2 weeks interviewing 10 realtors and trying to search out all this stuff. They want you to be their realtor because they don't have time a lot of times to go out there and search for you. Okay, here we go. My last piece of advice here is you role play this situation, and then you're going to get better. Practice the phone leads. Craft and hone your emails to schedule meetings. Be confident. Be strong. Be professional, okay? You are not a door opener. And if that's what they want from you, then that is not a good fit, okay? The more you role play, the better you're going to get. So role play with other people in your office. Maybe there's some other agents that you met through your license training. If you've been a realtor for a few years and you're not doing this, by all means practice with other agents, and it's gonna help you, okay? All right, well, there's my information there. So this was a really good session because I feel so strongly about this. If I had to kind of look at what is one of the reasons why I am so successful when I'm helping my buyers is because I do have that meeting up front. And a lot of people, they get lazy. They don't want to have that meeting. They just think, well, we'll just go out, look at homes, and whichever one they like, we'll write an offer. That doesn't work, okay? All right. So that's it, and we'll go to the next video.